My name is Mirja, and I'm here to tell you that the film you're about to see, Beyond Dreams, Dröm, vidare, is also eligible for our audience award. So you can go to kavi.fi/hifkilpailu and vote for this film or any other film in the competition, and it will be screened. The winner of this competition will be screened here in Orion in November. Now we have some special guests we are happy to have here. Please welcome director of Dröm, vidare, Rojda Sekersöz. We will have a Q&A after the screening. We will also be joined here by one of the actors in the film, Outi Mäenpää. Oh, hello. But would you like to say something before?
Hope you enjoy the film, and I think they should vote for our film.
Yeah, so enjoy the film and we'll see you after. Ask, how did the film get started? How did this story come to you?
The film has two producers, so the producers met the screenwriter, and they called me and said, we want to do something on the theme sisterhood. Do you want to do a movie with us on that theme? And I said yes. And then for 2 years, I think, we discussed and developed the script together. Yeah.
And Outi, how did you get involved with this film?
I went to casting, and then I don't actually know. I didn't know. But Evin said, the woman who played this main role, she said that I was the only one she could get somebody to fight with. I mean, she felt too strong with the other persons. So I think this is something to do with Finnish personality. You have to stand there. If they say you have to stand there. So.
Yeah, but also when you and Evin were the only two pair who connected instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the casting process, you two were not uncomfortable with each other physically and stuff.
Yes.
She could lie on your
Yes.
yeah. So.
Yeah.
Were you looking for a Finnish actor for this role?
Yeah, the role was written as a Finnish mom who had immigrated to Sweden.
All right, do we have questions from the audience?
Mitä vaan voi kysyä suomeksi?
Hello, thank you for the very emotional film, thank you. And somehow the film gives quite, how would I say, not so optimistic picture of the Swedish society at the moment, that you have to really fight on your own, and you cannot trust anybody else except yourself, not even necessarily your sisters, even maybe in the end they were there for you. And do you think this is somehow the feeling of at least certain young people, or who was right? I don't know who wrote the story, or like what happened to the public social democracy and the networks, and we know the policy, what's going on,
Yeah.
but somehow really that you are really on your own.
Yeah, I think in all of Europe we live in more individual societies today, and there's a liberal thought that your success and what's the opposite of success? Failure is your own fault. So yeah, and not everyone has the opportunity to succeed today because of different things that is not about your own drive. Yeah, just because you have a social democratic party in charge doesn't mean that it's a social democratic politics.
Rojda is a very political person. You should check her. You're doing some kind of is it spoken word, and they are your own poems or text. They are amazing.
You should be my manager.
Yeah, I would love to see them on a stage. I have just checked from internet.
Yeah. So what was the hardest thing that you, while filming the film, what was the hardest scene to film?
I think the scenes where all the girls are in the same scene, 5 girls together, was the most difficult for me as a director, because there was so much energy and so many wills, and yeah, to direct. Yeah.
And it's your first feature film. How was it? You said you were approached from the company producers. Yeah. Do you feel like we were talking earlier about the Swedish film today? How there's been a lot of big films and good films. Was it an easy process for you to become a filmmaker, or hard? Did you get a lot of support?
For this film, or generally?
In general, for this film.
I think it's difficult to make films generally, so this wasn't unique. But it took I think 3 years from idea to finished film, and the financings are difficult, and also the screenwriter, she's originally, this is her debut as well, because she writes for the theater scene usually. So we were a few wildcards debutants, too many debutants in the same project. So the financing was not easy, but it's not easy for anyone, I think, today.
And Outi, you've worked in Sweden before, also with Callgirl and Svinalängrorna. How would you compare it to working in Finland?
Well, my roles in Sweden, they're quite. I mean, in Callgirls I was like a hawker, and it was lovely because I was over 50. I'm an aggressive alcoholic, and not in this film alcoholic, but smoking a lot. Doesn't look nice, but I sort of love it because it's a little bit different than in Finland. I think people are as professionals, but in Sweden people talk a little bit more. They're more gentle, and people also in Finland. But there isn't any risk that somebody is going really mad for a couple of minutes. But in Finland there is always a little bit this risk. I mean, they're both sides, they have so little money, so there is pressure. I don't know why that. You should ask that from Ville Virtanen. He always have a huge monologue about that. Yeah. But I loved in this film, I think it's very interesting about the aggressivity of women and girls. And I think it's sort of scary. I heard about one guy who was like 18, and he said, do you know the people who has all the power is young white women? And he really thought that boys like 18 are really, they have problems with the girls and with the aggressivity, and they don't know how to cooperate with them. And you talk about this energy. I think this is very interesting subject, and I think you should continue with that. For example, you have all other subjects also. Did you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So, what is your background as a director? What have you been doing before this, and where did you study, or did you study?
Yeah, I studied film directing at, I think it's called, the school had changed its name, so it's called Stockholm Academy of Dramatic Arts now.
Taideteollinen korkeakoulu se. Hän on käynyt se ihan sama, mutta Suomessa on se.
Yeah.
The same,
Okay, yeah.
the highest level where you can carry it out.
So when I started making films when I was 13 or 14, so I've just, practiced.
But you were very young when you get in.
Yeah, 19.
Think about it.
Yeah,
And
I was the youngest one in all the history of the school.
So what did your father say?
He was proud.
Ah, good.
Yeah. So and I've done shorts before this one.
What was the year you got to this drama school?
I went between 2009 and 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know someone who went there?
No.
No.
I don't know. My point of view is not a question, but I think it was interesting that there were hardly any men, or they were really minor side roles, and there weren't any sex on the film, and still it was like really powerful, and like, it was kind of like how you had like the scene when the two girls were sitting there, like facing each other. It was really powerful, and I think it was great that it was only the girls.
Thank you. I think it's sad that we react on that 2017, that when we see movies with only a few men, that it's det är synd om oss kvinnor, because we think it's wow, and it's really sad.
Yeah, but also like most of the suburb movies that they're always from the men's
Yeah.
point of view, so
Yeah.
it was exceptional.
Thank you.
You get used to that there isn't so many. I mean, you're used to that. It's the man's story,
Yeah.
and women are just bringing information.
Yeah.
And if you see somebody who's really reacting and cooperating, it's like, is she really a woman?
Can you talk more about shooting it in the suburbs and what kind of an image of the area? This was set in Alby, right?
I think there is a problem with the images of the suburbs, and I think it's like that in all over the world. It's often like hip-hop music, and it's grey. Do you say concrete? Yeah, and everything is really like dark and so on. But I mean, for me, I had my childhood in these areas that we filmed in, and for me it was always a lot of nature and a lot of color and energy, and like we listen to other things than hip-hop music and stuff, so for me it was important to show the nature and all of those stuff that I wanted to show, and I didn't want to use like I wanted to have a poetic visual thing going on, and the composer, her name is Lisa Holmqvist, and I had this. I work very early with music, so on the script level, I talked to her, and then we had an idea about drums, and then we thought, well, maybe a guy should play drums in the film, and then when we were in pre-production, I got the idea that can't we mix Swedish folk music with drums or electronic music or something? And then she came up with this violin folk thing. So and that's also something people react on, because they're not used to hear that sound with this type of image. Did I answer? Yeah.
Maybe one more question from the audience?
I'm a bit interested in the fact that you chose a Finnish character as the mother. Can you develop your thoughts on that, please?
Yeah. When we wrote the story, we had the characters before we had the story. When we wrote the script, and it was important to. It's like a comment to the developed racism today, because in Sweden, a lot of Finnish people immigrated to Sweden, and at that time they were also discriminated, and some of them were like lived, or they hamnade. They got to live in the socioeconomic lower areas.
The feeling where we were acting, it was really, because it was quite heavy scenes anyway, but it was really calm and we were safe, and it was really lovely to act in this film. That's why I think all the actors are so good. If you are safe with the director, there is possibility to be good and give the impulse going on. You can really live the role through. You don't really care anybody, you are just there in the situation. But the decision is made there, how the director is directing it, about the safetiness, and can you be seen really, and can you offer anything.
And I also just want to say that sometimes people think that the girls are vankilasta,
Vad är det på svenska?
amateurs. Yeah, but they're not. All of them. Yeah, except the small child and the black girl are professional actors, and I think it's one of the most difficult thing to do as an actor, to play like you don't play.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. I agree totally. Because if you act, then you act.
Yeah.
Then it's not real. So you have to act, not to act.
Yeah.
How much of the dialogue was written and how much improvised?
I mean, all the dialogue had its ground in the script, but we also improvised. And my way of working is also like we do the scenes as it's written, and then I can like say something in your ear and say something in someone else's ear and see if there's someone else. So I cannot say exactly what's written and what's improvised, because it was kind of organic. But I know one of the scenes I rewrote it the night before we shot it. The scene between when the girls come into to her work and confront her. Yeah.
Okay, final question. What are you dreaming about right now?
I'm dreaming about not to depend on other people's money to do my work.
Outi?
I got so much as an actress. Nowadays I mostly think if the director or the script is interesting, I want to love to be on the set. But I have got so much as an actress, so I don't know, I'm not so much dreaming, but sometimes I think it would be lovely to play like 55 years woman and really be the main role, and maybe that kind of film is coming, I don't know, there are some plans, so. But it's lovely to work with her and some other director, so maybe that's the dream. But I have 2 horses, I love to hang around in the forest with them, so I dream they live as long as possible. So that's. And I'm also credited as a ohjaaja and ESL coach, so I'm working quite different areas nowadays because I love it. I all the time open the new door. So I think it's so interesting to live dreams. I think behind the biggest fears are dreams. But I'm 55 and I work it with my fears, so I think the set is open.
Thank you very much.